The early beginnings of extension. It is not known where or when the first extension activities took place. It is known, however, that Chinese officials were creating agricultural policies, documenting practical knowledge, and disseminating advice to farmers at least 2,000 years ago. Traeger, 1996. 1800 BC in Mesopotamia, Iraq, archaeologists have unearthed clay tablets inscribed with advice on watering crops and getting rid of rats. 2nd to 4th century BC Latin texts were written, usually drawing on practical farming to help Roman landowners to maintain and improve their estates and revenues. 1847 extension began in Dublin, Ireland with Lord Clarendon's itinerant instructors during the Great Famine. The 1850s it expanded in Germany through the itinerant agricultural teachers Wanderlehrer. 1914 in the USA via the cooperative extension system authorized by the Smith-Lever Act in 1914. The term was later adopted in the United States of America, while in Britain it was replaced with advisory service in the 20th century. Stirrings in 19th century England. The birth of the modern extension service has been attributed to events that took place in Ireland in the middle of the 19th century. Jones and Garforth, 1997. Between 1845 to 51 the Irish potato crop was destroyed by fungal diseases and a severe famine occurred. The British government arranged for practical instructors to travel to rural areas and teach small farmers how to cultivate alternative crops. This scheme attracted the attention of government officials in Germany, who organized their system of traveling instructors. By the end of the 19th century, the idea had spread to Denmark, Netherlands, Italy, and France. The first practical steps were taken in 1867 to 68 when James Stewart, Fellow of Trinity College, Cambridge, gave lectures to women's associations and working men's clubs in the north of England. James Stewart is often considered the father of university extension.
Birth of modern agricultural extension. It was not until the beginning of the 20th century, when colleges in the United States started conducting demonstrations at agricultural shows and giving lectures to farmers' clubs, that the term extension service was applied to the type of work that we now recognize by that name. In the United States, the Hatch Act of 1887 established a system of agricultural experiment stations in conjunction with each state's land-grant university, and the Smith-Lever Act of 1914 created a system of cooperative extension to be operated by those universities in order to inform people about current developments in agriculture, home economics, and related subjects.
In 1565, the concept of granja modelos began to emerge as part of the extension work. These were model farms or agricultural estates established by colonial powers, particularly in a region like Latin America. They serve as centers for experimentation, showcasing modern agricultural techniques and crops to local farmers. The aim was to improve the agricultural productivity and introduce new crops, ultimately benefiting the colonial economy. These model farms played a significant role in the spread of European agricultural practices and the exploitation of colonial resources. These model farms were crucial in introducing new agricultural techniques, crops, and technologies to the local communities. They provided platform for experimentation and education aiming to improve agricultural productivity and promote economic development in the colonies. On June 23, 1898, during the revolutionary period in the Philippines, President Emilio Aguinaldo established the Department of Agriculture and Manufacturing. This marked the spiritual beginnings of the modern-day Department of Agriculture in the Philippines. It was a significant step towards organizing agricultural efforts and promoting industrial development in the newly independent nation. Jose Alejandrino was appointed the first secretary.
Japanese occupation of the Philippines. The Japanese occupation of the Philippines was a dark and tragic period in Philippine history that lasted from 1942 to 1945. The occupation brought immense suffering and hardship to the Filipino people, who resisted and fought against the invaders with courage and determination. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the invasion and how it shaped the world.
During the Japanese occupation from 1942 to 1945, the Japanese implemented various agricultural policies in the territories they controlled.
These policies aimed to increase agricultural production to support their war effort. The Japanese established agricultural extension services to disseminate modern farming techniques, improve productivity, and ensure food security. They introduced new crops, such as sweet potatoes, and promoted intensive cultivation methods. However, these policies often exploited local resources and labor, leading to harsh conditions for many farmers. Additionally, the disruption caused by the war severely affected agricultural production in some areas. Executive Order No. 94, issued by the Department of Agriculture, DA, in the Philippines, was enacted on July 18, 1947. This executive order established the Bureau of Plant Industry and Agricultural Extension, BPIAE, which merged the Division of Plant Industry, DPI, and the Bureau of Agricultural Extension, BAE. 1949 Bell Survey Mission made several recommendations, including those related to agriculture extension in DIFIR. One of the key recommendations was the consolidation of the scattered extension organizations in different bureaus such as the Bureau of Plant Industry, BPI, Soils Bureau, and others. This consolidation aimed to streamline and enhance the effectiveness of agricultural extension services. This establishment was a direct response to the mission's suggestions and aimed to improve agricultural extension services, including areas like homemaking and rural organization. In April 24, 1952, the creation of the BAEX, Bureau of Agricultural Extension, through RA 66 Magsaysay admin reduction in the role of the BAEX with the creation of the Philippines Assistance on Community Development, DACT. Also Gracia admin reduction in the work of the PACD.
In 1929, the BE was recognized with the formation of the Bureau of Animal Industry, or BEI, and the Bureau of Plant Industry, or BPI. In 1932, under another reorganization, as per Act No. 4007, the DNR became the B under the Department of Commerce, and Communication was placed under the reorganized department. During the administration of Secretary Rafael Alunan, Sr., in 1928 and 1932, the DENR became the Department of Agriculture and Commerce. The Bureau of Agriculture was split into two bureaus, the plant industry and animal industry.
Topical 1961 to 1965. President Diosdado Macapagal was considered the father of agrarian reform. It was during his term that the Agricultural Land Reform Code, or RA No. 3844, was enacted on August 8, 1963. This was considered to be the most comprehensive piece of agrarian reform legislation ever enacted in the country that time. 3844 was an advancement. of land reform in the Philippines that was enacted in 1963 under President Diosdado Macapagal. It abolished tenancy and established a leasehold system in which farmers paid fixed rentals to landlords rather than a percentage of harvest.
Presidential Decree Number 461, reorganizing the Department of Agriculture and Natural Resources into two departments, namely Department of Agriculture and Department of Natural Resources, amending for this purpose Chapter 1, Part 7 of the Integrated Reorganization Plan, whereas it is primarily objective of the government to conserve, revitalize and develop the country's national wealth and manage its utilization for the continued well-being of present and future generation. This Presidential Decree Number 461 also, which was issued in May 1974, was related to the revised Forestry Code of the Philippines. In 1978, the World Bank Mission appraised the National Extension Project (NEP) of the Philippines. The NEP aimed to improve agricultural extension services in the country, with a focus on enhancing the capabilities of agricultural extension workers and increasing the participation of farmers in the development process. The World Bank's involvement in this appraisal affects its support to agricultural development and extension services in the Philippines during that time. Executive Order Number 803 establishes an integrated area management system for agricultural services in the Philippines. The law aims to coordinate and integrate the operation of various government agencies involved in agricultural services inputs.
In Aquino Admin, with the reorganization of law of 1986, the extension was transferred from the DA to the Department of Local Government. After the shift to the parliamentary system in 1978, all departments were changed to ministries. Thus, the office became the Ministry of Agriculture and Food until 1987, when the office's name was reverted to the Department of Agriculture by Executive Order No. 116. In 1987, the agricultural extension services of the DA were developed to the local government units through RA 7160, known as the Local Government Code of 1991. During Ramos' administration, extension service was changed from technology transfer to participatory extension through the Gintong Ani program, and in 1997 enacted of Republic Act 8435, otherwise known as the Agriculture and Fisheries Modernization Act of 1997. In the year 2000 to 2012, only Dr. William Dar, a Filipino, will lead a global agricultural research institute. And in May 2014, 4 agencies representing 3/4 the DA's budget, the Fertilizer and the Pesticide Authority, the National Food Authority, the National Irrigation Administration, and the Philippine Coconut Authority, were removed from DA control.